From the campus of the University of Kentucky, this is Behind the Blue. I'm Cody Kaiser with UK Strategic Communications. For the first time in nearly a quarter century, the University of Kentucky is searching for new leadership in UK athletics. Mitch Barnhart is stepping down after more than 2 decades of incredible success across a 23-sport program that has won multiple national championships, while experiencing unprecedented success in student performance in the classroom as well. At the end of June, Barnhart will leave UK athletics, but stay at the university to help lead an initiative around workforce development, specifically growing and supporting careers in an evolving and rapidly changing sports industry. UK President Eli Capilouto has recently initiated a process to find new leadership for UK athletics. On this episode of Behind the Blue, he talks with UK Chief Communications Officer Blanton about the process and how UK fans can stay involved in it, as well as Barnhart's new role and why it's so critical to future workforce efforts in the Commonwealth.
President Capilouto, thank you for joining us for this special episode Behind the Blue. There's been a lot of talk about athletics nationally, but also here in Kentucky, as after nearly a quarter century, we're going to be searching for new leadership in athletics. So as this search is underway, why is this position, why is this so important, and how are you thinking about it?
Jay, thank you. We've enjoyed unprecedented success under Mitch Barnhart's leadership. 6 national championships, dozens more at the conference level, and I consider it even more so an all-American performance on the field and in the classroom. And our success, it came the right way. UK athletics is essential to who we are and to our mission, which is to advance the state in all that we do. It's a powerful brand that in many ways most defines us. It is for so many people, both the front porch and the back porch, where families come together, for people to connect with UK. And I know our fans expect to win, and the success of our program unites communities across Kentucky in enormously powerful ways. So we want to be successful. And this search is coming at a time of incredible change and stress for sports, perhaps more than ever before. Revenue share, NIL opportunities for students, increased costs for scholarships, inflation, expenses that soar, and a regulatory environment that is new, that is still evolving. And the change just keeps continuing. And it may not stop for a good while. To be successful, which we must, we need leadership that understands and embraces change while continuing our commitment to putting students first in everything we do and our university's mission to advance Kentucky.
So you've embarked as part of this process on a listening tour. I know that's something you've done before in making decisions about other senior leadership areas. Why is that important as part of this process, and how do you think it will serve this goal of finding the right leadership at this time for UK athletics?
Mitch Barnhart gives us the gift of time and a precious, proud legacy to continue. It makes the University of Kentucky an attractive place for people to work and raise a family. He serves until June 30th. That provides us time to do this search the right way, to find the right leader for the next and very still evolving chapter. You mentioned that I have used this process before. I think I've been using it for 25 years. Anytime I search for an important leader, usually a direct report to me, I've utilized this process. I talk to experts, I talk to people on campus on the front lines and others who can tell me best about what practices are working, what ideas they have for change, what attributes they think are essential in identifying our next leader. And this process, as I say, has worked before. It's an opportunity to gain deep insights, and I think this is more critical than ever before.
I know you're early in this process, so they've already talked to a lot of people, but what have you learned thus far that you can talk to us about?
In just a few days, I have had the opportunity to speak to more than 30 people, and I expect to talk to many, many more over the next few weeks. Coaches and senior staff here, experts from across the country, important supporters of UK athletics. The conversations have been rich, thoughtful. People care deeply about this place and are committed to its continued success. People know so much about the change we are facing and the challenges and have great ideas about how we face them going forward. But in summary, what have I heard? First, we must be willing to think and act differently. College sports, whether we like it or not, is now a business in many respects. Expenses can't outpace revenues. We have to have leadership that thinks about how we generate more revenue while managing expenses even more efficiently and effectively. We're working on numerous concepts for developments around our facilities, for example, how we could generate more revenue, entertain our fans, and promote community development. Those are the kinds of ideas that we've started. We're going to need even more of those in the future to generate the revenue to support a successful program. Second, we have to think differently about organization and structure. We have an incredibly great team in UK athletics. I have been inspired by the interviews I've conducted with senior leadership and some of our coaches. I have more listening to do. And I know they're going to continue to do great things. But we must be willing to look at other models. What's going on in pro sports, businesses similar to ours, and other entities and organizations. We can take the best of what they're doing, combine those with what we do so well, and I think position ourselves for further success. I think some of the traditional models that we have relied on across all of college athletics may not work as well as they used to. We have evolved here at UK Athletics. This is a time of, I think, continued positioning ourselves for success in a new ecosystem. And finally, one of the things I've heard in a very powerful way is people are so proud of what we have done, and they should be. It's a compelling story. And we have to do even more to tell that story in a powerful way with all the stakeholders, donors and fans, our community, the media. And we got to do so across all the many platforms that people rely on today for information.
So you talked about where you are with the listening tour and indicated that's going to last a few more weeks. What are the next steps then in the process?
Well, I think my listening tour will take a few more weeks, and I'll continue to report out to our fans and others about our progress. And then I'll pause just briefly and quickly think about if we need assistance, whether it be from a search firm or establish an advisory committee that can help in these next steps, how to best craft a job description for what we need in leadership, to help me talk with and evaluate potential candidates. But I want to finish the listening tour, and then we'll make those determinations.
Let's pivot a little bit. Maybe we've talked about the search process. You also, when you communicated with the campus about this transition point, you talked some about a workforce initiative that you're working on across the campus, and you talked about Mitch Barnhart's role in that. So could you talk a little bit more here about this initiative, what Mitch will be involved with after he leaves UK Athletics?
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this because this story really began over a year ago. One of our colleges wanted to change its name to include the word sports. Following the processes we have, we consult with other colleges and faculty leadership. What surfaced, and the provost led this, was an incredible breadth and depth of programs related to sports, from exercise physiology to athletic training, sports medicine, history of sports, communications, marketing, business management. We have this going on everywhere. The provost comes from a health background and quickly noticed that, gee, wouldn't this be a wonderful opportunity if we could broaden the menu of educational opportunities by integrating across colleges and units some of our course offerings, certificates, other credentials. We also noticed this is really happening in our student body currently. 12, 15 years ago, we may have had a large handful of students that beyond their degree earned a certificate at UK. Most recently, we had well over 1,000, and 10% of those 1,000 earned more than 2 credentials or certificates. So it's not atypical now to find a social worker or who gets a degree that may choose to take 12 more hours and learn about clinical management. You may have a school teacher who gets her certificate in clinical social work. You can imagine how those rackable and stackable credentials prepare someone for the workforce. We have an incredible brand in UK athletics. I learned about that certainly from our success in licensing and royalties. I also realized how strong our brand was when we went to the market 10 years ago to look for a partner for UK dining. We had people competing aggressively to be our partner. Why? Because they wanted to be associated with the UK brand. And what did they deliver? Tens of millions of dollars in capital investment so we'd have more attractive venues and options for our students, faculty, and staff to dine. They said that they would lower prices, they would increase quality, they would do more local purchasing, which was good for our economy and our farmers throughout Kentucky, and they've delivered on that. Why? Because they saw us as a growth opportunity. In many ways, when the provost started talking about this integrated educational opportunity around sports, I got as excited as I was 10 years ago when we looked at dining, or 15 years ago this month when I walked across this campus and had dreams about how we could modernize. A few months ago, Mitch Barnhart came to me and wanted to talk about his future. I think it was precipitated by his 8th grandchild. Family means a lot to Mitch. Too many weekends of missing those kids' athletics events. but he still had so much more he wanted to offer. Like we say, everyone wants to do more and be more for Kentucky. And we talk about how he could be of value and add value. Mitch at heart is a mentor and teacher. I don't think there's any athletic director in the country that has mentored more future athletics directors of top programs. Many in the SEC are in the Autonomy 4 conferences. When I interviewed his senior staff, some 25 or so, and asked them what's important about the future, they mentioned leadership development, growth opportunities, because they love the work they do. They want to be able to grow in it, especially here in Kentucky. Mitch and I started talking about, this cross-disciplinary education. He's an incredibly thoughtful individual when it comes to how you could craft educational programs. We see that he could work with an educational leader. He assumes the role as executive in residence. He has an enormous array of connections across this industry. And I think he has a record of mentoring and teaching. He also has a vision of what this could look like, not just at the collegiate level, but at the pro level, and then going down to that future generation that, in our K through 12 system is dreaming of pursuit of either playing sports, leading sports, or involved in some way. It's a booming industry, and I am so excited about the opportunities we're going to be able to afford students, staff, and others in advancing their toolkit skills in athletics.
There's been some, let's call it discussion on social media platforms and other places about the contract, the amount of money, the substance of the job. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why the amount of money in terms of the contract?
If you look at the history of Mitch's tenure at the University of Kentucky, which is remarkable, there have been amendments along the way in respect of his service and what's going on in the marketplace. The most recent amendment was initiated by me for the reasons that I've talked about. I think we have an enormous upside opportunity when it comes to educating all kinds of people who want to be associated and make a career out of sports at a variety of levels. I thought Mitch had unique qualifications to contribute to this new sports-focused workforce initiative, which is part of a larger workforce initiative where we're trying to align our degrees and certificates with what the workforce demands are for here in Kentucky and elsewhere. His contract, previous ones, always contemplated continued service to the university following his time as AD. That's typical of what you're seeing around the country, to have wisdom and guidance available. In our discussions, Mitch and I came up with what we thought could be this more meaningful and impactful opportunity in service to the university. His salary is significantly reduced. It's consistent with peers who have transitioned out of their AD roles. The 2 years that we added reflect the scope of the work and my excitement about the foundation Mitch is going to be able to help us shape in delivering educational programs that I think will echo for generations.
So is this a real job or a ceremonial role?
Well, if you know Mitch Barnhart, and have been part of the conversations he and I have had, Mitch doesn't like to contrive work. He wants meaningful work. He's already talking to me about this. He called me a couple of days ago just to check in, preparing for the NCAA tournaments for both our women's and men's basketball teams. He quickly shifted his thinking about what he's hearing in his industry. It had long conversation with somebody that I think is important in workforce development, and had some deep insights to what artificial intelligence is going to mean for sports. So he's anxious to get started. He looks forward to working with a academic leader, probably more than one, as we shape what I think is going to be a broad array of educational opportunities.
And finally, since his role is now shifting over to what would be traditionally considered more the academic side, why is UK Athletics paying his salary? Couldn't that money be better used to help UK win on fields of play?
His contract and the amendments that preceded this one always contemplated that he would be paid by athletics rather than general fund or taxpayer dollars. Athletics has always on this campus had a pivotal role in education. This will not in any way compromise other funding priorities for athletics, such as revenue share investments we're making, or improvements in facilities to further enhance the fan experience and at the same time generate more revenues to support athletics. So the commitment of the university to the future financial stability and growth of athletics is clear. This past June, our Board of Trustees looked at a 3.5 year plan that athletics presented. They felt confident, as we've done with other units across campus who want to invest to generate future revenues. The board approved a loan of up to $110 million for athletics to invest in facilities and future growth. We've already got those planning strategies underway. The board also approved up to $30 million in operational funds for athletics over the next 3 years.
President Capilouto, I know that people are obviously very, as you alluded to, so interested in UK athletics and so supportive and committed to it. So how are you thinking about the next steps in this process as you go through this listening tour, what you prepared to do with that, and then how can people stay engaged in this process?
I encourage people to follow us. We've prepared a website, a page, where we're posting information, something I hope people will take time to review are the readings I have given in advance to the people I'm interviewing on my listening tour. They really fall into 3 buckets. The first was to level set everyone about the recent history of college athletics, from Supreme Court decisions, settlements, terms of those, and what it means for college athletics. Secondly, I gave some readings that involved this debate going on at the federal level, whether you should centralize media rights. Also included, I think, a quite candid review by a sister university in the state, because I think it is typical of what athletic departments across the country face in terms of the financial pressures. And then lastly, we had someone take a look at what universities across the country are doing in the face of these seismic shifts that are going on in college athletics. Namely, that we have, which is a good thing, permission to share revenues with college athletes. It's under a salary cap. It's not unlimited, so how you strategically use these funds within and across sports, how institutions are working to generate more revenues because our expenses are being outpaced, are outpacing our revenues, and those organizational models that you see universities moving into in the face of these ecosystem changes. So after my listening tour, I'll make decisions about the next steps, but periodically we'll communicate through our website and other means about the progress we're making.
And we'll post a link to that site and the email address where people can ask questions in the show notes for this podcast.
That'll be great. I'll welcome their input.
Is there anything else you would want to add about either the search process for leadership or this new workforce initiative that I know you're excited about?
Thanks to the power of we, and that is when people come together on this campus to launch something bold, in some ways cutting edge, I get excited. And I'm enormously excited about this. To have somebody with Mitch's reputation that extends nationally, someone who has been at the table for every major development in college athletics over the last 25 years, someone who has a record of mentoring the next generation, who is going to use his experience, expertise, and relationships to make possible careers in a sort of booming and attractive enterprise that we know as athletics, has me incredibly excited. I'm confident that this is going to be another endeavor that pays dividends for the people we serve.
President Capilouto, thank you for your time and joining us on this special edition of Behind the Blue.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Blue. Behind the Blue is a production of the University of Kentucky. For more stories about how the University of Kentucky is advancing our Commonwealth, visit uknow.uky.edu.